Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Welcome to Road to Recovery, Advocacy and Insights for Trucking Accidents with Sagi Shaked. Sagi is the founder of Shaked Personal Injury Lawyers and is ranked one of the top 100 trial lawyers in the United States by the American Trial Lawyers Association. With a wealth of experience in personal injury, wrongful death, and complex litigation cases, he passionately advocates for victims and has recovered multi-million-dollar settlements in damages for his clients. I'm your host, Sophia Morales, and today's episode is Trucking Accidents at Night, when darkness and fatigue create the perfect storm. Welcome back, Sagi. So happy to have you here with me again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I would imagine that trucking accidents are more common at night. Is that the case, and why?
Yeah, so there's actually data to support that thought that you had. So the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration did a study on what they call driver fatigue, and they said that, I'm looking here at the stat, it's 13% of all truck accidents happen because of driver fatigue, and there's usually driver fatigue will occur at nighttime. So when you have these, you start thinking of the people's circadian rhythm. And, if from 12 to 6, most people in the world are sleeping, right? But there are people who are still doing other things and driving. And when your circadian rhythm is off, that could cause a reduction in being alert. It can cause crashes. So nighttime, you also have to think about the visibility issues, minimal lighting, fewer rest stops are opened at night. And just all those can cascade and cause a lot more crashes at nighttime than you would see in the daytime.
I can believe that. I know at 9 o'clock, I start to get like this micro sleep thing that happens. It's like, yeah, I better go to bed or I'm sleeping on the sofa.
We all get tired eventually. Although I like to say I never get tired, but we do get tired.
Yes, it happens. So are there federal rules that govern how long truckers can drive before they ought to rest?
Yeah, so the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration came out with some rules, and then Congress passed it. And it's under Code of Federal Regulations 395, which deals with what they call hours of service. And so there are specific rules. Let me go through them. I'm going to put them here. Basically, there's a truck driver is allowed to drive up to 11 hours, but only after taking 10 hours of straight off duty. Then they have what they call the 14-hour rule. So there's like 5 different rules. I'm going to go through all of them, and then we can get a better understanding. So there's the 14-hour rule, which says that those 11 hours must happen in a 14-hour window that starts when the driver begins work, even if they take breaks. So once the 14 hours is up, they have to stop driving for that day.
Okay.
Now,
so
during
time to,
those,
pull the plug.
yeah, but during that time period, so whenever you're on that 11 hours or the 14-hour period, they have the 30-minute break rule. So after 8 hours of on duty, and on duty means from the moment you start your pre-trip inspection, not the moment that you're driving, the moment that you start your pre-trip inspection, which should take about 15 to 20 minutes. Once you do that, so that moment you start, that's when on duty means. The driver has to take, after being 8 hours on duty, a 30-minute break, even if they haven't hit their 11-hour mark yet. So you can drive 11 straight hours, but you need to take a break after 8 hours, and then you can continue your technical 11 straight hours. The next one is the weekly limit rule. So truck drivers can't drive more than 60 hours in 7 days. So that's 60 hours of on duty. And then the other rule is 70 hours in 8 days, depending on the work schedule. And then once you hit those numbers, you have to restart. The rule restarts. But in order to restart it, you have to take 34 consecutive hours off before starting the new cycle. And so the reason why that is, they found that people are fatigued when they drive too much. You make mistakes when you don't get enough sleep. We've all felt it where you go 1 day without sleep, 2 days without sleep. Maybe you can function a little bit, but the third day, even the second day, you're not yourself anymore. And your reaction or perception reaction time drops, so you don't make decisions as fast. You might not see as well. and then add nighttime to it, you're really talking about a recipe for disaster. And you see this, this happens throughout the country where when truck drivers violate these hours of service, they're getting into bad crashes. And unfortunately, people's lives are getting turned upside down. So the ideal thing to do is follow the rules that were enacted by Congress, but not everyone does.
Well, and it can be so dangerous to drive when you're exhausted. I had a coworker who died because he thought he was young and invincible and could, stay up all weekend and rely on caffeine to get him home in time for work on Monday morning, and it did not work out.
Yeah,
So,
we all did dumb things when we were young. Unfortunately, that doesn't sound like a good story. I'm sorry you had to go through that. And his family had to go through that. But yeah, the
So-
fatigue is a real thing. You got to sleep in order, not, if otherwise you can't function,
it's really serious.
or properly. At least you can't function properly.
Who's responsible if a truck had poor lighting or if there were failed reflectors in a nighttime crash? They literally didn't see the guy who was pulled off not quite onto the shoulder, that sort of thing.
So the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, they put these rules in place. And we start with the rule of the pre-trip inspection. The driver has to, if they don't have their reflective tape, if they don't have their warning devices on their truck, whether it's on the truck or warning devices, if they get stuck on the road, they're supposed to put those warning triangles out. So the law mandates that they have to follow those rules, and they really shouldn't be driving. But then you can take it a step further. You could have the motor carrier, meaning the company that the driver is working for or the company that owns the truck, and they could be responsible as well because there's a reason why the drivers are in a rush. It could be the cramped schedules. It could be the maintenance on the truck. Those are things that need to be explored and not looked over, because you need to find who was responsible for causing that crash. And sometimes you have those issues where, again, the reflective tape, the warning triangles. We've tried a case where they didn't put out the warning triangles while they were stuck on the roadway, and our client smashed into the back of a truck. And we went through a full-blown trial and an appeal on that case. So they will fight you tooth and nail to the end. It's our job to ensure they follow the law. We're kind of the enforcers if they don't do what they're supposed to do and cause someone to get hurt.
So, looking farther into the company side of things, can the trucking company be held liable for scheduling drivers at nighttime hours, for example, or under other risky conditions? There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just the driver. Those hours of service are meant for the truck driver and trucking company and anyone else really who's in the transportation industry. If you're hiring a company that has problems with their hours of service and continuously get cited for it or are having accidents, then you're on the hook as a broker. But it's the driver who needs to know. Every driver basically signs on that they're going to comply with all the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration rules and regulations. Every trucking company, when they sign up for their DOT license, say that they are going to comply. There's a document called an OP1, OP-1, that they're going to comply with each and every one of the regulations put out by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. So everybody's going to be on the hook for those hours of service. And the reason that is, we want to keep the roadways safe. That's why we have those rules in place.
All right. So, speaking of roadways, what role does, say, the lighting on the highway or highway signs or other vehicles play in proving fault or maybe mitigating fault?
Yeah, so sometimes, we have cases where the truck driver, didn't see a light that was illuminated properly or should have been illuminated properly. So you may have a case, and a lot of times you see that in a construction zone setting where the construction company just didn't do a good job of putting everyone on notice of what was going on, because they need to. There's the manual on uniform traffic control devices, and there's different plans in place. So sometimes you see that where there are a lot of illuminated properly or they're blocked by trees. So that can play a role into it. That's why I like getting out to the scene, not sitting behind a desk all day long. You got to get out to the scene. You got to see what happened. and there may be a different pocket to go after, or because the trucking company is going to send their people out there. So they're going to look for defenses. You've got to look to diffuse those defenses. So that's why it's not for the client to do that. It's for the attorney to go out there and really get out to the scene. Super important for every case.
Which would seem to be a red flag to me if you talk to your attorney about, well, this happened to me, and he doesn't seem motivated to go out there. It might be time to shop for somebody else.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So, what kind of evidence is used to prove that nighttime driving conditions were unsafe?
So what we're looking for is, number one, we're going to look for that electronic logging data, that device that logs in the hours of service. We're going to see if they were overworked, if they were violating their hours. We're going to look for dash cam and surveillance. That helps us. We have a big trucking wreck right now against a construction company that was working on the highway. And as they're working on the highway, they're moving one of these monstrosity of trucks across the highway. I mean, this is like a huge crane operator across the highway, but they don't warn any of the drivers that are going 65 miles an hour that they're going to be moving this slow moving crane across the highway.
Holy crap.
They don't put any spotters. They don't have any traffic control, to move people away from the lanes that the crane operator. And what happens is, you guessed it. I mean, my client's driving, minding his own business, and does not expect this huge looking, like it's like a transformer. Imagine like Autobot,
Overhead, yeah, obstacle.
and just like, smashing in at 65 miles an hour. Nothing, and believe it or not, my client's vehicle was destroyed, but the at fault crane operator, pretty much nothing happened to them because their wheels are like 8 feet high. It's a huge monstrosity. So what you need to do is you need to go back, get witness statements so you can secure that location. You can secure the witness statements. You want to get photos, surveillance, dash cam, get your accident reconstruction out there. If it's lighting issues, you want to get a human factors expert out there. The more information and data you can have, the better. If there's track marks on the road, you want to get that. And you really want to look at every angle. So we want to get our team out there as soon as possible. Even if it's not that same night, the police will be there that night. You want to still go out there because you never know what evidence you need to collect. Remember, the police is out there to collect evidence, to figure out what happened in the crash and do they need to prosecute someone or someone getting arrested. We're looking at is who caused the crash and then try to figure out why they caused the crash so we can further prove our case. The police is not trying to help us prove our case. They're just trying to do their job.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's not criminal, they're ready to just wash their hands of it.
Exactly. And they're so busy because there's so many of these cases all over.
So what injuries do you most often see in these nighttime truck crashes?
Because it's nighttime and people drive fast at night, you're seeing horrific, horrible, life-altering injuries from people unfortunately passing away to, I mean, we have what they call catastrophic type of cases where the injuries are so bad that my clients can't walk anymore, or they have bad brain damage as a result, or orthopedic injuries. So really the plethora of injuries you see, from really bad injuries to not so bad injuries, but a lot of them are life-altering injuries.
Makes you rethink this driving at night thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what advice do you give clients who've been hurt in a crash that's been caused by driver fatigue, for example?
So number one, take care of your health. Go to get medical care. If you're hurt, go to the hospital, go to the doctor's office, take care of your health, and let the lawyer take care of your case. So seek medical care, report it to the police. You want to preserve the evidence, those hours of service, those logs. It used to be that they were handwritten. Now it's all computer generated. So you want to get those. You're going to get witness statements, photos, videos, anything, gas receipts, anything that we can show, toll records, anything at all, like credit card statements. You want to look for signs of fatigue with the driver. We've had cases where the drivers had sleep apnea. You want to look for gaps in the driver logs to see, are they fudging on the logs? The drivers get really clever, I guess that's the word to use, with how they're, gaming the system. I'm not saying all drivers. I'm just saying there are some that are looking to, get away with as much as they can instead of following the rules and doing the right thing. And then, we can always have, I like to have a trucking expert take those logbooks and really analyze them, the electronic logging device, really analyze the hours, compare them to the gas receipts, compare them to the weigh receipts, compare them to every stop and every bill of lading, and figure out, is what they're telling us actually accurate? Is it true? Or is there something a little different going on here that they're not fully disclosing what they were doing? So it's our job, again, to be that forensic and investigate to get justice for our clients. So that's why there's so much that goes into these cases, that you should hire someone who knows what they're doing in the field of trucking, who has tried cases in trucking and can bring home a fair compensation for what you've gone through or your clients have gone through.
Thank you for sharing all of this with us today, Sagi. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
the insights. And thanks for tuning in to Road to Recovery. Night driving is dangerous, and when trucking companies cut corners, it's deadly. Visit shakadlaw.com for help, and remember to like and subscribe and share with someone that you love and appreciate. And come check us out on the next episode. We have more interesting topics for you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.